Okay,
All
and
right.
continue. Good citizens. So the community service hours, we try to incorporate community service into our outings. We do require that they can't that they do community service outside of Horizons because we want them to think about what it is they enjoy doing and how they can be a benefit to their community. So although we do provide some of the service hours for them, we've gone to um, youth shelters and cooked dinner for them. We've walked in the diabetes walk here in Chicago. So we do provide opportunities, several opportunities for them to get their service hours, but we would like them to do part of the 25 that we require every year outside of Horizon so that they're doing something that's for their community or something that they're passionate about as well. And again, you'll see the continued expectations at the bottom here. So our next steps our next steps with this roadmap, because again, it's a new tool that we've developed and it's we're just starting to implement. So what we like to see in the future is additional opportunities to incorporate. So definitely doing more outings and more workshops and having more individual conversations about the roadmap. They received it at the beginning of the year, and so we want to make sure that they're seeing it more often, so that they're constantly reminded about the expectations that are set for them.
We'll be using it a lot more in our summer program. We didn't have it at the beginning of last summer, so all of our teachers will be really heavily preparing the students for what should already be learned and then what is to come in the next school year. But as Ashley mentioned, we are really looking for more and more ways for this to become a document that they utilize, I would say, on a weekly basis, that it's really something that they go to when they're both here and at home. And we can also increase the amount of times that students see it, I think, at our tutoring program and just in general conversations when we are giving students feedback.
There would definitely be revisions and additions. As we grow the program and as situations change, there'll definitely be skills that we see are important to student success. So this is not the final document. There'll always be ways to add more helpful tools and characteristics into the document.
And then using this more as an evaluation tool, you can see that we've created this as a checklist system. So it's very easy for us to say, yes, this happened, I can see this happening, or no, this isn't happening yet. This is an area for you to work on. So someone asked if we use a rubric to assess and promote feedback. We feel like this checklist system that the roadmap is an easier way for us to say very clearly, yes or no, we're seeing this or that. We do also, however, have a scorecard system that is more of a rubric style evaluation tool that gives all of our participants, parents, students, and mentors feedback on how they're doing fulfilling their contract, because all of our parents, students, and mentors are on a contract with us that they sign on an annual basis. And we've revised the scorecards to reflect the big three. So now our student scorecards look more closely aligned with the big three. And then the progress reports that we send home to give students and parents feedback on their participation in our summer program, those have also been revised to reflect the big three and just keep everything really consistent.
We'll continue to coach parents and mentors. That's important because again, we're a team of people for that, a team that works with the student, and we know that everybody has a role in making sure that the student is successful. And so being able to have the parents and the mentors well versed in the roadmap will allow them to implement in different ways in the home and when they're having one-on-one time with their mentor. And we definitely want to definitely continue to create the culture by adding visual reminders around our office so that when the students walk in, they're constantly reminded about what the expectations are for them, and it's not just a document that's in their book bag on the refrigerator, but as soon as they walk in, it's in their face.
All right, so some of the challenges that we've faced, definitely teaching parents has been a main focus of ours. We know that they have the most time with their child, and so it's really important that they're on board with these strategies and that they understand really the meaning and connections behind them. Time for all of us, no matter what we're doing, is going to be a major challenge. We're trying to put this more at the forefront of our programming so that it's a more natural part of our program. We have the luxury of, for the most part, having very long-term relationships with our parents and students. The challenge being that we know that we can't expect these changes and improvements to occur, certainly not weekly. We have small successes, but we need to constantly remind ourselves that this is a long-term project, it's a long-term process, and it's going to take years for students to really fully engage and form these habits. Communicating with the schools can sometimes be difficult, just making sure that we're on the same page with the schools and that they are willing to work with us on reinforcing these skills. We do work with a lot of different schools, and some of those partnerships are stronger than others. Sometimes we only have one student in a school, and so that can just be difficult to advocate and really communicate with the school when you've just got the one student. And then incorporating these new tools for our students who have been here a while has been challenging as well. Kind of a teaching old dogs new tricks kind of conflict there, but we're working through it, and I think we've been pretty diligent in communicating the importance of these skills with our students, and now that they're starting to have some successes with them, I think it's becoming a little bit easier. Yeah. All right, let me use back.
Define desired outcomes. So steps for incorporating soft skills. There's a document that you can find in your additional document of some additional tools section.
I think you find it where it says additional information on your screen, and you should be able to download or upload, I suppose, the document.
So the first step is defining outcomes, but even before that, you want your outcomes to be focused on your mission. So what is your mission for your student? What is the mission for your organization? And for an organization, it's going to be different, what you're looking for and what your services are. So what are your desired outcomes based on your mission of your organization? And then you can review your current programming and decide, what are you already doing to get to those desired outcomes, and where there can be some additions there. And so some questions that you can ask: where are you already building these skills? So if your desired outcome is college completion, what are you already doing to do that, to make sure that your students are not just getting into college but graduating? Where could they easily be incorporated into existing programming? So there's no need to restructure your whole program. We did not do that. We just found ways to implement into things that we were already doing. For instance, as we mentioned, our monthly outings were ways that something that was already in place, and we found ways to incorporate soft skills there. The summer program is another way. What additional training is needed to address any gaps? So that was for us. We read books and found supporting documents and supporting research for what we were already doing to determine if there were any gaps in what we were trying to do. And then if we did, just finding resources that could address those gaps and make sure that we were well trained and well informed on how to implement as well. Building a culture of soft skills development. So things that you need to consider. leaders and staff. So everybody has to be on board. You can't have your board, the people at the top have to be in agreement this is what they're looking for, that it falls in line with the mission and what the outcomes you're looking for. Parents, if you can't teach a student something and expect them to embrace it if the parent is not on board. And vice versa. You can have the parent on board telling the student, but if the student doesn't see the benefit of it, then it's going to be difficult for them to embrace it and actually implement. And then volunteers, again, we have a team of people. Your volunteers need to understand that the reason that their efforts are actually being used to create these desired outcomes.
So if you're still, someone mentioned they were still having difficulty finding the supplemental material, which is an outline of this process that we went through as a team. There should be something on your screen that says additional information. And so if you click on that, you should see the document. All right, and then there's some additional resources that we recommend. Some of those were used for our research purposes, and some of them were where we found more information on what skills we should be incorporating into our roadmap. So we have about 10 minutes left for some questions. Someone asked what our approach is in coaching parents and mentors. Do you want to take that one and I'll supplement? Or I can.
So we're not going to say that coaching parents and mentors is easy because, again, as Kristen mentioned, we had parents that were in our program for 7, 8, 9 years, and so they were used to the program running a certain way, and so incorporating these new models and these new requirements was a challenge. But one thing that we did was we didn't start implementing until everybody was aware of what the changes were. So over the summer, we invited every parent and student, along with their mentor, to a workshop and had them review the document before we actually started implementing, so that things were not a shock. We allowed them to ask questions. We allowed them to be critical. We allowed them to say they agree. We were able to get feedback from the parents at that moment, and to let them know that this is what the new expectations were, and just to, again, getting them on board and getting them involved. And that included everybody who's, say, on the team, the student, the parent, and the mentor. We are actually doing additional trainings for parents and mentors throughout the year. So if it's an issue with communication, anything that we see may be a barrier for the child being successful that is included in the roadmap, we're starting to